record of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. So I know we talked a little earlier today, and you shared that another member of the team was going to do a presentation, but as she's had to fly out, we will welcome anything that you wish to share with us. And later, if you could get the information from Ms. Evans, we're happy to receive it.
Okay, great.
And Carla, just for your information, Miss Evans, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tamisha, but she's the deputy, right?
That's correct.
Deputy principal of the school.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's correct.
So you can start and just share information about your school, your, anything you want to share, activities you do, anything notable from a history or legacy that you want to point out. We're happy to receive.
So thanks for the opportunity, PS. And I wish I had others who had more of a depth of knowledge of Northlands who could really speak to what makes Northlands so special. That's the saying that I found when I got here, that Northlands is special, and that's the saying that I definitely believe that the school has lived up to. It's such a gem that very few people know about, and I wish that the story was told more broadly. Some of the information that I can give as far as historical perspective, but it's definitely limited, is that, of course, Northlands on Barkley Hill Road, and it predominantly serves and has served the Mount Hill community. It is seen as the alternative to West Pembroke School, because most of the legacy of that school has been with the historical legacy of a lot of our schools, that the schools that started off as schools that white children went to just has maintained the legacy that those are the better schools. And Northlands has inherited that type of reputation, as well as a great alternative to West Pembroke. But if we were the one that started off as the place that white students were allowed to go to first, then West Pembroke would have been the alternative to Northlands. It opened as a primary school in the mid to late 1930s. And in actually 1971, Northlands merged with Delwood to become Delwood Primary School. So the current location that we find ourselves is not actually the location that it was originally in. When I grew up, Northlands, this particular property was a high school. And then it morphed into the primary school, and has certain features that have been adapted to the school property to be able to accommodate for younger people. When it became Delwood Primary School, and like I said, the original one was where Delwood is, and Delwood became Northlands. That's when it became a secondary school. During the introduction of the middle schools in the mid 1990s, specifically around 1996, Delwood became Delwood Middle School, and then Northlands became the primary school under the leadership of Mr. Dale Butler. So he was the first principal here when the school was moved to this site. And then Mr. Stanfield Smith assumed the role of principal in September of 1999, and he remained the principal for quite a while, to 2013. And that's one of the other people that I thought would be really good to tell the Northland story. But of course, with his eyesight issues, I just really wasn't comfortable putting him in that type of position. And then in 2013, when Mr. Smith left, then Mr. Joins became the school's leader. And he served until he passed away. And so the school over the last few years, Mr. Joins passed away about 4 years ago. So the school has had a very tumultuous last 4 years, with having many different principals, having to mourn the loss of Mr. Joins.
Right.
And then Miss Evans, who was the deputy at that time, she came on as the principal. And then as the acting principal. And then we had Linda Holdip, who was only here for really not even 2 years, because she was on jury duty for half of her time. And so here I am now 18 months later, and the new kid on the block. So my perspective that I bring today is pretty much a limited one regarding what have we accomplished in the last 18 months, and how I feel about what would be a travesty if this school is closed. First of all, I just want to establish that to me, school, the physical buildings in the school don't kind of matter to me. I'm not kind
Mm-hmm.
of wedded to that, but I am wedded to the culture that is created at this place. Servicing inner city students is both a privilege and sometimes very, very difficult. But what is demonstrative of what makes Northland special is that it has a legacy of families that have continued to come to Northland. Even in our P1 intake that we have now, we have a student where we already have three of the siblings here. And two of the other siblings have already come here. So it's kind of sad to know that potentially our families will be denied the opportunity of maintaining that. But I think beyond that, it is what Northlands offers to this community when it comes to being a family. It has wonderful wraparound services, teachers that have been here 15, 16, 17. Some of them have spent their whole career here, over 25 years servicing this community. And when I interviewed the teachers my first year when I started, and I said to them, how could you possibly have stayed anywhere for 25 years or 23 years? And I remember the PE teacher saying, well, that's easy because they need me.
Wow.
And he had over the years, these teachers have had other options of going to other places, but they are definitely committed to the families and the community around us that we serve.
Mm-hmm.
And even though there have been successive leaders in the last few years, what has been the mainstay for these children have been the teachers. And that, even though the leadership has come and gone, the teachers have demonstrated their commitment to them time and time again. I could say that in these last 18 months, what I'm super proud of when it comes to Northlands that I think will be a travesty to not continue to maintain is the progress that we have had academically as well as socially. So when I started in September of 2022, so it's been 18 months, we had adopted the vision of 100% of our students reading on or above grade level by 2026. That was our goal. When we started out, we started at 54%. As of last week, we are at 86%. 86% of our children are reading on or above grade level in 18 months. I have been afforded the opportunity of speaking to 350 principals around the world on what we did here in order to action that. And I will say this, what we did here was to determine that our mission for our school, for our students, whether we stayed open or closed, was that reading would provide for them the opportunity and the freedom to capitalize on any opportunity and to be able to take advantage of any opportunity that came their way. And so all of the decisions that we have made within the last 18 months has been very intentional and directed toward that goal, that we want the children in this community to be free of cyclical trauma in their life, free of decisions being made and imposed to them because of where they were born or the family that they were born into. This school has made a vested commitment into breaking those generational cycles through academic ways, meaning knowing how to read, because when you know how to read, you can make different choices in
Mm-hmm.
life, and that unlocks so much for you. But also in how we react and respond to the socio-emotional needs of our students. And so in 18 months, we only have 8 more children that we have to get to grade level. 8, from 54% to 86%. And so the story, though the governmental one might be school closure or not school closure, and that's the high level stuff, the ground level really begs parents to ask, why would you close a school that could absolutely move children in that short period of time to give them these opportunities, to give them the opportunity to be able to read and those types of things. So it's within that lens and that perspective. But also, I understand that it sits within schools, in my opinion, are just a building. We need to be ready to giving children better
Right.
opportunities no matter where they are. And that's why I thought it was important for other people to speak of the before story, because the
Right.
before story would then undergird, where we are and move
Mhm.
us forward. Once again, speaking of current context, our school and Northlands has been known over the years for its performing arts. For example, it has an award-winning school choir. It didn't just start winning awards this year when we won the choir competition at Christmas time, or when Kirk Franklin this year, decided to tweet us out
Yes.
to millions. The school has a history of doing that, and people will say all the time, oh, we have to make sure that we make it a point to go to Northlands productions, whether it's the Christmas production, Easter production, spring into the arts. The school is known for that as well. And that's something else that I had inherited as far as a legacy. And that speaks to kind of focusing on every child and providing a space that is equitable for all students. Some might be more on the academic, track, and others are in the sports track, because Northlands is known for that as well. But then when you look at the arts, that
Arts.
is another thing that Northlands is known for. Um, Current context again is we are I received a letter yesterday, the school known for the quality of instruction in our CCK program. So we have been inundated today and yesterday. We had videographers here and persons coming to interview us regarding the creative curriculum and how it has, our school is the lighthouse when it comes to demonstrating the quality of instruction that happens in that program and how our
Right.
students can be successful. Um, and so my P1 teacher had said to me earlier today, how could they possibly close us down if they send people to us all the time to see what it is that we're doing? And that's not just when it comes to the CCK in our curriculum. After school, we are the only school on island, public school, that offers after school extracurricular activities. We have 32 activities every single day from Monday through Thursday that are free, and the community and our teachers are the ones that engage in the instruction during that time. So our students do French, they do Spanish, they do robotics, they do code, they do cooking, netball, softball, tennis. They go up to Government House for pickleball. And so our families each term have the opportunity to sign their children up free of charge so that they can engage in those extracurricular activities. So our school day actually ends at 4:30 because 92% of our children are engaged in those after school,
Mm.
and that has become, and we've only started it since I've been here, but that has become a great selling point for parents who want their
Mm.
students to be able to come. And I specifically say to them, it's not a babysitting service. Part of my PhD, I'm doing it in learning, instruction, and innovation, is about how do you create creative spaces for students to use their imagination and to innovate and kind of tap into their passions and interests. So that was the impetus for getting these after school clubs. And so I tell parents, don't choose something that you want the child to do. It's an opportunity for them to
Mm.
choose something that they want to do, and
Mm.
express themselves in that way. So I would say that, um, kind of catering to the whole child, that is the culture of the school that is here. And so when you speak to people about the potential of the school closing, it is that. It's not really the story about the building. It's what happens inside of the building. This is about people.
Mm.
These are about relationships and experiences. And so I know that from where I sit, I think that it will be a travesty not to maintain those types of things. I have tried as the principal to create lateral connections with the schools that surround us. So our after school clubs are also offered to the students at West Pembroke. Next term, they will also be offered to the students at Victor Scott. So the children, their parents bring them over after school, and so they have an opportunity to mingle with our students. And so for me, it's not about the building, or whatever is good for one school is good for all
Right.
schools, right? And so that's how we've also tried to spread that type of thinking and philosophy into the community. Um, so that's pretty much our story. as far as what I can give you, what we are
Right.
currently doing and how we can maintain it. Um, but questions beyond that are ones that I cannot answer.
Mm-hmm.
That we can definitely circle back and get more of a historical perspective on how we got here.
Yeah. So this is good. This is a good start. And what we'll do is we'll wait to get the submission from Miss Evans. When is Miss Evans back?
She's not due back until next week, but what I am gonna do, I spoke to another teacher today. She left for Carifta today. I will contact another former deputy principal, Ms. Obin. She's actually a next door neighbor here at the school.
Oh, okay.
And so I will reach out to her and see what information she can give me as well. And then I'll just collate as best I can before tomorrow afternoon and then get that to you guys.
Oh, that would be great so that we can include it in the
Okay,
package. And even
sure.
if you don't make it tomorrow, if you send
Mhm.
it, at least we'll have it for the
Okay,
package. I'll make sure
okay,
it's put in.
sure.
But thank you for taking the time. Carla, did you have any questions for Principal Darrell?
I do not. It sounds like a wonderful
I
job you guys are
know.
doing. It sounds so cool. My daughter went to Northlands a long time ago, and it was good schools then.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just carrying on a really good tradition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really,
Thank you.
really.
Well, I can tell you something that you said something that now makes sense to me. When I came home from school and started working, I think I was so engrossed in work that I didn't have a personal life until I came to work for the government, to be quite honest. But anyway, when I went, it didn't register to me until I started working for transport control. And one day I was walking over to the BPSU and I saw these big children in that school. And I was saying to myself, but wasn't this little children?
Right.
So, so it's certainly making sense to me
Right.
now.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That was when, during the last transformation
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that shuffle happened and we went to middle schools and then those kids were brought over here.
Yeah. And one other question, how do you pay for these after school activities?
They're all free.
Oh, I mean, people don't pay, but you don't have to pay, or people just
No.
volunteer their
These
time?
are all community members that I have reached out to and tried to develop relationships with. So
Wow.
Belco comes over to us. Robotics, I use one of the teachers from Cedar Bridge. She comes over to us. One of our teachers speaks Spanish and has lived in Spain for 10 years. She comes over. We have Mr. Simmons. I don't know if you know him. He's a tennis coach, a pro. He comes over to us. He's a grandfather. So I've just tried to tap into the resources that we have, and make as much use of that as possible. So like I said, so this year we have 28. We started off our first term with 18, then we grew to 21, and then 23, and now we're here at 28 offerings that our students can take advantage of. And my whole thing was I went to work academy. I had those opportunities. Why do our kids have to go to private school to have these
Mm,
opportunities? I can create that space right here
yeah.
for them.
Well, this is really good news, and I'm really happy that this is happening. I didn't know.
Mhm.
It certainly makes a difference. And
Mhm.
I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking about the what they're doing in the parish primary schools with the
Mhm.
community involved, and you actually have started the ball rolling. You're
Well, they
doing
came
it
to
with,
us. They came
yeah,
to us to see what exactly we were doing. So for me, being a brand new principal, I wasn't going to wait until somebody said that you can start doing this because you're a parish primary school. I know what works for kids and what's right for
right,
kids. And so as a result of that, we've had several visits from parish primary schools, both Parvis and Francis Patton Purvis has come to see our CCK program and how
yeah,
that is run. And Francis Patton has come to see our after school clubs. And we also have a media program where the children learn how to do social media and how to create TikToks and how to do all of those types of things. Because we have a full-fledged production studio here at school. And
okay,
so people come as well to be able to see that. So we weren't waiting for Superman to come. We just decided
right.
to jump right in and give these guys the best experience that they could have.
Well, I think that's great because one of the concerns that I had about the community clubs and volunteering is that the continuity, you know, if how committed
Mhm,
community partners would be, so we
mhm,
didn't have gaps if we
mhm.
said we were going to offer it, but it seems like it's definitely working for you.
It could be gaps if you don't have a principal that's tenacious, but
Well,
I
that's,
am.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to.
Oh, you can hate, because I'm gonna do everything I can to fight for these kids. That's that's
Yes,
that's a given. But what you have to do is, I found, is determine for the community partner how this will bring them value as well.
right,
So when I approached Belco, my conversations were around, why can't we have kids from our community automatically feeding into your business as your future employees? So tell me now what you want a Belco kid to look like.
right,
So I know what a Belco adult looks like. I can build it now and you can inherit it later, but there has to be a synergy between the both of us so that the kids from this community can see that if they can work at a place like Belco, they can have a different life because those people
right,
are paid well, right?
right.
And so I wanted them to be able to see that they can have that right where they are as well. So that was how I kind of sold it to them. It took over a
Okay.
year to get done, but we finally got there.
Oh, that sounds great.
Mhm.
Carla, anything? Are you good? Okay, well,
Oh,
we'll
I'm good.
wait,
All right.
get the rest of the information
Yeah.
together. But thank you so much for taking the time, Principal
No
Darrell, because
problem.
I know that someone else was doing this and you've jumped in and we
Mhm.
really
No worries.
appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
All
Okay,
right.
have
Have
a
a
good
good day.
Have a
day.
good one.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, bye bye.
bye.